COVID, community, and climate change. Sailing the 3 Cs, staying dry and productive through what often felt like very trying times. Many programs continued to adapt as public health guidelines changed. IDP referrals had dropped off drastically but have since come back. Child and youth services operated at full capacity for the most part. Community and employment services and residential were out of lockdowns but spent a lot of time getting everyone vaccinated. Switching between PPE and street clothes became a habit, and the Red Cross provided rapid tests so we could get ahead of the testing game. By the end of the fiscal year, even after Omicron, things started to feel like smooth sailing again. In the community, DDA was pleased to sponsor 3 City of Vancouver dialogue sessions for families with developmental disabilities. It's all part of Phase 1 of Vancouver's accessibility strategy, where DDA has a seat on the Accessibility Task Force and Persons with Disabilities Advisory Committee. Cultural diversity is strong within DDA, and this year over 60 DDA staff took part in Truth and Reconciliation training. The year was defined by heat domes, forest fires, atmospheric rivers, and polar vortices. When highways were washed out, supply chains were affected, so our assistive technology department was forced to source materials from other businesses and build adaptive products ourselves. We sailed through it. The polar vortex led to a burst pipe at our GF Strong Child Development Center, and quick work from staff found vacancies in other locations, so the kids stayed happy and dry. Our infant development program once again rose to the challenge of COVID and offered a blend of virtual and in-person meetings to foster support. By the end of the year, things were back to normal with in-home meetings. IDP received 388 new referrals, 192 intakes, provided 4,453 hours of service, and did 843 physiotherapy consults. This year, the Fostering Early Development Program expanded to include kids who are not in foster care but have a protection concern within their families. In-person visits are happening again, and this year we screened 102 children, did a total of 215 developmental screenings, 14% were identified as having a disability, and 9 new foster caregivers completed their training. When COVID hit, the opening of our 9th Child Development Center was delayed. By July 2021, the new Fraser View CDC with 49 spaces was open for business. It was made possible with the partnership of the VSB and the City of Vancouver. Renovation at Berwick was also completed. Berwick was DDA's first special needs childcare location, so a facelift was badly needed. Thankfully, all of our centers are back to full capacity. COVID hit the adult services sector hard, and the federal government provided funding for those who had lost their jobs. Additional funding was added to provincial disability benefits. That made a difference to self-advocates who then asked the government to make the increases permanent. After 21 years at our Grandview location, we had to move because the owners of the property wanted to move in. Fortunately, the board approved $180,000 to renovate a new location. Caslow was used in the meantime. Despite COVID, we took in 24 clients for youth in transition, 2 for the community apartment program, 2 for day programs, and 22 for respite. By the middle of the year, Drop-In was again offering weekend and evening programs and still met the needs of 75 participants. Among many accomplishments, Jobs West had 174 job placements, served 331 clients, and has a healthy roster of 122 host businesses. Alltech, an electricity transmission company, was awarded our Employer of the Year for inclusive hiring practices. Business is booming at Starworks. We renovated the space to maximize production, and sales increased by 44%. We employed 25 production workers who put in over 15,000 hours, earning a total of $248,000. This year we had 34 customers, packaged over 12,000 energy-saving kits for low-income families, over 12,000 education kits for the Indigenous community, and produced 130,000 tie wires for BC Hydro. This year, DDA served 184 families of children and 181 families of adults. Most support groups were done virtually, and by the end of the fiscal year, 2 groups resumed in-person meetings. Resources we offered included creating connections with soccer camps, therapists, or useful information about parenting, as well as financial assistance in the form of helping with applying for funding, estate planning, and more. All services at no cost to families. COVID really limited what respite could offer. Of 73 adults and families served by DDA, 35 did not use our services this year. Of 115 families with children, 17 did not use caregivers, but staff was able to secure direct funding from the Ministry of Child and Family Development instead of support. DDA currently has 12 clients involved in our Home Share program. However, the high cost of living in Vancouver makes that program very difficult. CLBC's reimbursement is far too low, and homeowners can make more money simply from renters. Our providers, however, did a great job through the pandemic, as they do today. 3 of our clients in our community apartment program were evicted due to property sales, so new homes had to be found. There are currently 28 participants in that program after 2 moved out of the region. Residential services were hit hardest by the pandemic. Keeping everyone safe, entertained, and socially isolated was hard work. Staff and clients even becoming ill after full vaccination. We're thankful, though, residents and staff, for a 100% vaccination rate. Several upgrades were made to Arlington's patio, pipes were fixed, and stair lifts were installed at other locations. We even renovated the basement suite at Worthington. After all the upgrades, we've been holding parties like Cinco de Mayo at Arlington ever since. In the spring, we bought 7 new minivans to get people around safely. Right now, there's only 1 worker entering the workforce as 2 leave. This is a problem. The caregiving professions are particularly hard hit in this regard. That said, our turnover rate was lower than the sector average, 18.9% versus 21.7%. Despite the usual high turnover, DDA has many long-term employees. In fact, nearly 50% have been with us for over 5 years, 14% over 20 years. To better meet our current needs and future requirements, we developed a recruitment and retention realignment strategic plan, which includes a new scheduling system and improved orientation and training content. Our IT department spent the year staying on top of everything from new software solutions to upgrading internet and Wi-Fi for residential sites. New leases were signed for printers and copiers, and they rolled out a new project management application. On top of that, they continued to evergreen our hardware and ordered 85 computers, iPads, and laptops. The assistive technology team renovated at head office and created our first AT lab, where staff can more easily assess client needs and goals. Throughout the year, the AT team delivered 34 special events, 37 sessions of online bingo, held 242 one-to-one education sessions, and created 11 educational videos and 5 for staff in Relias. Video became a driving force in the communications department this year. Training videos, recruitment videos, employer of the year, and anything else we could shoot was shot. So far, our videos on YouTube and Relias have been viewed over 3,100 times. The new staff portal was launched as a new hub for staff to get association information. It also enables new hires to upload documents to Human Resources, which reduces the time between a job posting and a job offer. Communications also secured recruitment advertising on 50 bus shelters provided by the City of Vancouver and purchased SkyTrain and bus ads. The team produced 36 blogs and 650 social media posts. DDA's finance team maintained working from home for the most part and continued to digitize workflow, invoices, timesheets, and payroll reports. They provided support to management and frontline staff and developed a system to manage CLBC service level hours. They also adopted a new accounts payable program and streamlined month-end processes to produce timely reports. Every 3 years, surveyors from across North America visit our sites to make sure we meet CARF's 1,300 strict standards. Most of the evaluation was done virtually this year, and we uploaded over 1,000 documents to verify our activities. DDA once again received a glowing report that mentioned innovations they had not seen before. They made 0 recommendations for DDA. We could not be more proud of our staff and clients who make us who we are today.